Architectural Builder Supply is pleased to present you with this recording of the technical question that is listed in the title of this video.
This call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurance.
Okie doke. So what are you working on?
All right, so so basically what happened was that the handle set, and I hope my terminology is right, the handle stopped working, right? They're coming in from the outside in, the little flap handle thing kind of jammed, stopped working. Okay. Started to fall apart, really. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to replace this thing. Didn't realize that it has a unique form factor requiring bigger holes in the door to fit in it. And I was wondering if you're aware of any drop-in replacement you can sell me for a new handle set for my door. I bought a new one from the hardware store. It doesn't fit. You knew that because I've seen your video. So the deadbolt's in, but the handle set I had to put the old mech in just to keep the door from having a big hole in it, frankly. So I'm trying to understand, is there any drop-in replacement for an EB, or am I going to have to replace my door?
Well, no to the latter. And there is not one to the former.
Is not. Okay.
There's not. No, there's.
Yeah, I saw some stuff online for about $1,000. I'm like, oh wow! So for the same one I don't want, I could spend $1,000.
Well,
to replace this with a newer one.
Well, whatever you would replace it with would be patently inferior to what you have now.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, forgive me. Not anything you could replace it with, but something you're going to buy that's going to be a couple $100 or so. So.
Yeah.
Patently inferior.
So I just don't know what to do. I guess I have to. I saw your video. You're like, you're not going to be able to replace this with anything new because they stopped making it, and the holes they require for the door are pretty big, and it's kind of a unique design, I guess. So I just thought I'd talk with you and see if you knew. That video was a few years old, so I just didn't know if you came across anything. You're like, yeah, there is something now from Baldwin or whoever that you can use that might work.
Yeah, Schlage was making the E series. It might be in my 1936 Schlage catalog, but all through mid-20th century, and they were finally discontinued early in the 90s. And fun fact, the latch bolt that works on the on the B250 series will work on your grip. So first of all, what's wrong with it? The thumb piece just started to misbehave?
Yeah, the thumb piece was doing that, and also the whole unit was really starting to loosen up on the door itself. I don't know what happened to it. It started loosening up to the point where I thought if someone really kicks the door, they might be able to break this thing out.
It'd just be a matter of making sure the screws are tight. I mean, you've discovered them when you remove the interior from the door. Yeah.
So we were looking for something a little, it's a little old, a little brassish looking. We wanted something a little bit more modern. All of our new hardware is black, darker.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, I'd like to replace this too then.
Yeah.
That's really where all started, was a combination of those two things. It was starting to show some age, not tight on the door, and it doesn't look very new. So I'm like, well, I can replace this then. Not so much.
Yeah, no. It's, what you... So here are some options. I mean, you can take that off, take the E. It's not an EB, by the way. It's an E is what you have there.
Oh, okay.
So, which doesn't matter. It's just I'm just saying it for the sake of saying it. What you could consider doing is you've got that quick set deadbolt above. That could be just simply the primary the only security on the door.
Yep.
And what you could, So what you could consider doing is removing the E off the door and finding a powder coater and turning it into nothing other than a dummy handle.
If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it.
You could...
Oh, black, you're saying.
Yeah, powder coat it black, put it back on, leave the wrong bolt that you have in the edge of the door right where it is, just abandon in place. Then what you could do is mortise into the edge of the door and the jamb a roller latch, so that a commercial grade one, something like a Rockwood 590 series, and that will allow you to keep the door in the closed position, such that when you push the door closed, it'll stay there.
Yeah, it's not gonna blow up as soon as the deadbolt's not activated.
Yeah, and a lot of people do that nowadays. Rather than have an E grip, they have a 48-inch long ladder pull, and they use a deadbolt with a roller latch. So that's kind of the cool thing that the cool kids are doing today. You know, if you've got a dog, you know, they stretch up on it, they might push the door open, that kind of problem. The issue though is I was, and I would imagine you were too, I was programmed since childhood that when the door was closed, I knew it was in the locked condition subconsciously. That for sure is how your lock used to work. Now, you have to reprogram yourself to know, boy, if the door is closed, is it actually bolted? And the problem that you have with that quick set is your thumb turn is vertical. Usually you like to see that at a particular degree rather than 180 or 90 or whatever you want to call that to know. So what's the unlocked condition when it is parallel to the throw of the bolt and perpendicular when it's thrown? If that's the case, then you can notice it from down the hall. Oh, I'm locked, I'm good. So that may be an option. Now, if you want to, replacing the door is impractical because then you have to probably get a painter and a carpenter, or at least wear both of those hats. You could take that same door and put into it a Baldwin Estate, a mortise lock with a beautiful, let's say a Versailles trim on the outside, or any of the larger trims that are going to cover that prep. Baldwin has magnificent hardware, and kind of like in pecking order, Kwikset down below, Schlage going up, Kwikset 1, above that Schlage, above that Omnia and MTech, above that Baldwin, and then above them would be boutique people like Rocky Mountain and others that are incredibly expensive. You'll spend over $1,000 for what I just said for the Baldwin. However, 100 years from now it'll still be working. And your E-grip, that's decades old. So if you actually just bought one from someone, you won't find it in black anyway. But if you bought one and you divided that by the number of years of service, I mean, my coffee habit is more on any given day than the cost of your lock on a weekly basis, you know. So there's things to do. I do like the powder coated black and abandoned in place idea. Or I don't hate that idea.
Yeah, I don't have, and the handle doesn't have to work. It just has to, you know, the latch on the handle doesn't have to work. Like I said, it stopped working. I thought, okay, there's an excuse to get rid of it then. But I didn't realize what I was getting into. My wife's pissed at me because she's like, how'd you not know that? I'm like, how would I know that? Oh, well, I know this thing's not retrofittable. It's like I thought they were all kind of similar enough.
Yeah, no, Schlage is known for being the odd egg, you know, in the dozen. Whether it be the way they call things or how they prep things or how they go to gymnastic efforts to make sure that you can't cross-pollinate their parts. Having said that, I mean, that E, you know, I have a personal collection of those, and I love that lock. It is if you go back to my old catalogs, it's just beautiful mid-century. It's like when the iPhone came out, you know, beautiful industrial engineering, and that's what Schlage was doing too, and all of them were, but the Schlage stuff is just beautiful.
Yeah, I bet this thing's probably 35 years old. This house is about that old. So
I'm going to guess that it could be
80s,
older than that. Looking at your inside, the inside of your inside trim, that looks like it's older.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean.
All right. Well, I do like the idea of a powder coat. Like, I can make it look close enough. No one's gonna care.
Yeah, from the street view, like, you're done.
Yeah, no one knows. So you pay $80 and have it painted, and what if that, and move on. So.
But definitely powder coated,
rely on the
meaning some sort of really robust means by which to finish it that will resist keys in hands, rings on fingers, you know, scratching it over time. Powder coating is extremely durable.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I never thought about that. Just try to match it up.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I thought I would just talk with you live about it versus emailing. Email's always tough. It's like, let's just have a quick call about this.
Yeah.
See if there's anything you can help me with, because I would definitely buy it from you if you had something. So, all right.
I do, I do, but I'm. It's exhaust all other options before you're going to be well north of $1,000 for that grip.
Yep.
You really have to want the
if
original functionality.
If we replace the door and side lights, they call them, I think that's $3,000.
Well, you wouldn't do that.
So
that door is not that door. That is a very inexpensive door that you have in terms of just buying the door itself. So you wouldn't replace the jamb or the side lights. It would be the door slab only, and then you could also upgrade it to something not 6-panel, maybe a 2-panel.
Well, you would think so. I talked to the guy at the store, and she said, this is just one store. She goes, we don't do slabs. I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, we don't do those. But she goes, it's too much work to try to make it fit. The house is settled. She goes, it may not be workable. They only want to sell what she called a system, which is basically the whole dang thing. Like, oh, you want to sell me the whole thing? That's a lot more money. Because, they want to sell you the whole highlights, the whole thing.
You need a new door supplier. That's of course nonsense. I'm not being disrespectful to them. That's
I know. I'm like,
nonsense.
what happened to craftsmen? What happened to craftsmen? That's what they do for a living. It's like you sell them a slab and they make it fit. They work on it.
But this is how these people make a living.
Weird too. I'm like, well, yeah. It's like, what about the craftsmen? That's what they do. Like, don't tell me they can't make this work. So it's just a steel door.
Well, it's a metal clad door, is what it is. It's not a steel door. Metal clad, and it has wood edges. Back in the old days, we would have called that a trooper door. When I first started in the 90s, those were about $98 each.
I know. Even to buy one, I saw at the store, I'm like, it's like $300 or $400 for the door. You tell me this guy can't charge another $300 or $400 to make it work? Come on.
Yeah.
It has to work.
Very well.
So, yeah. Well, I appreciate the time and the information you shared. It's
awesome.
It's very good information. I have a great rest of the day. Thanks so much for this.
I'm glad you called. Thank you.
Okay. Bye now.
Architectural Builders Supply hopes you have enjoyed this program. Please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.